Hey, it's B-Rad Celebrity Hairstylist here, your host of the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast, a platform that allows the voices of the beauty industry to empower with the spoken word. Thank you for joining us on today's show. We're currently over 60,000 thanks to you and on over 40 plus podcast platforms, including Amazon Music, Audible, and Spotify. So our first guest founded Salon S.O.S to bring his 20 years of beauty industry experience plus impressive marketing prowess together to create incredible business development tools specifically designed for the salon industry. A marketing major from McGill University and a former general manager of the #1 professional products brand in the salon industry, his strategic, consumer-centric approach has helped numerous salons and spas, distributors, and manufacturers grow their business. He is dedicated to adding value to the salon industry, sought out speaker and thought leader. He infuses his passion and energy into innovative and empowering solutions for salons and spas across North America. So let's welcome our guest, Scott Moon, to the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. Well, welcome, Scott, to the show.
Hey, thanks so much, Brad. It's really happy to be here.
Yeah, it's good to kind of have you on because I think what we're going to talk about today is really what a lot of people want to know. You know, they want to know more about their brand. They want to know about AI. They want to know about, just all that kind of stuff, which we'll talk a little bit later in the show. But if you can please kind of introduce yourself and give us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. Have been in the, as you did a great intro there. I've been in the beauty industry for over 20 years now. Worked for one of the large manufacturers of our beauty products in the salon industry. And it's actually interesting. When I was first with that company, I was on the side of the company that was selling products. Drugstore products, so not hair salon products. I was selling other products that was sold through, the drugstore chains and the Walmarts and the Costco's of the world. And, I was in marketing, a young marketing guy, sort of making my way. And eventually during my sort of career development there, I had the opportunity to get transferred into the division that, works with hair salons and sells products, directly to salons, distributors, etc. And I was very, unsure at the beginning. I said, I don't know if this is, the right environment for me. And, and it very, very quickly really just felt like home. I fell in love with the people in the industry, both, at the distributor level, like I said, at the salon level, actually being out, in salons, at events, talking with individuals, learning about their challenges. And I felt this huge sort of openness to collaboration. And I've really kind of been dedicating myself ever since to, finding ways to work with, salon professionals to just bring innovative solutions, simple solutions, affordable solutions, something that can just help us all, right, do a little bit better day by day. And I've been blessed, to be part of this industry now for, like I said, close to, over 20 years in the beauty industry. But I love what I do every single day, and I hope to continue to do it for a very long time, and hopefully make a bit of a difference along the way.
Yeah, and that's what it's really about, and that's what we have the show for too, is for people making a change in the industry. But the great thing with you, you focus mostly on the beauty industry, but you're able to do all industries, that they can come to you, things like that. So you've already told us a little bit about your journey, so we're going to go a little bit kind of deeper. Can you tell us about your journey into the world of marketing? So you already kind of said it. So what was that initial spark that got you interested in the field, and how has your career evolved over the years? So the marketing itself, when did it turn on for you to say, hey, I want to do marketing? So before you even thought of marketing, we're in marketing. So let's go back 20 plus years. And what was that initial moment that sparked for you and said, hey, I think I want to do marketing? Because it's
Yeah.
not an easy, I don't think it's an easy task by any means to
Yeah.
jump
Great.
into.
Great, great question. And I haven't shared this with very many people, but there is a very distinct moment in my life that I remember so clearly. I was 14 years old, and I used to, sit and watch TV at night with my parents. And I remember having these exchanges with my dad as we were watching these TV commercials that would come on between the shows. And, a commercial might come on, and my 14-year-old self, might have laughed at it and thought, ho, that's great, that's so funny. And my dad was sitting there being like, oh my goodness, like that's so stupid, like who would make an advertisement like that?
Mhm,
And sort of repeatedly, this happened quite often, and it made me really think, like, why is it that I like this particular advertisement that's being shown, but my dad thinks it's silly or stupid? And I really started to just
mhm,
kind of get into the consumer psychology and around advertising and marketing. And that's really what the initial trigger was for me to say, hey, like I'm really fascinated by this, and I want to explore this deeper. And I think I might be interested in this as a kind of a career path, going down advertising, marketing, etc. That's really where it all started.
mhm. Yeah, and with that too, it's like some of those commercials, yeah, they are annoying, they are, but I think that's part of the strategy too. They make them that you can't stand it, or there's the radio one, and you probably know this one. It kind of starts, it was a rainy day, right? So they
Yeah.
go back, it's the pizza thing, right? And you hear it over and over, or some like stupid lyric, or one thing, once you get it in your head, you can't get it out. So I think that's a kind of strategy that they kind of use as well. But marketing is an ever-changing landscape. So how do you stay updated with the latest, industry trends and adapt your strategies accordingly?
Yeah, well, I think one of the main things to kind of say marketing, there's some core principles, and for any business out there. So if you're an independent stylist, or if you're a salon owner, you're still marketing yourself and your services, or your company. You have a bit of a brand, and it's always going to come down to understanding what your brand stands for, right? You kind of
Mhm.
have to have a bit of a almost like a mission statement, right? For who you are, why you do what you do. You have to have some kind of um, emotional connection of why people would want to actually do business with you, right?
Mhm.
Um, so that's a key sort of starting point from the marketing standpoint. And then secondly is you really have to focus in on who your target audience is, right? And that's where, coming back to those commercials that we were talking about, that was the key difference. It's not as though it was a good, bad, or a bad ad,
Mhm.
right? That's totally subjective. It really depends on who your audience is. And, for some audiences, it's going to appear bad, but if you're targeting properly and you know who you're trying to
Yes.
speak to, right? You just care that your message resonates with that audience, and you don't care about other people that maybe are not going to connect with your message. So it's
No.
really, really important to understand who it is that you're trying to talk to, right? And then understanding what their challenges are, what their pain points are, right? And then present yourself, as a service. We're obviously in a service-based business, so
Mhm.
present yourself as a service that can help to overcome those challenges that they are having in their lives. And obviously it's related to beauty. So if we're
Mhm.
going deeper into what salons or independent stylists can actually be thinking about is who is that target audience of yours? Is it a busy professional who's also a mom, and she has a family, and she has like a million stresses going on and crazy life, but she needs to be able to maintain her beauty and her looks, because that's important to her self
Mhm.
identity as well. So how can you really identify what the challenges are in her life and try to position your service offering so that it's going to allow her, right, to maybe be efficient with her time, because that's probably something that's really, really important to her, right? Maybe provide her with some, quick styling tips that she can be, taking care of her hair in the morning quickly as she's getting the kids ready for school and also preparing for work. If she had some quick hair tips that you were providing as her beauty advisor, essentially that's what you become, right? That's going to really connect and resonate with her, and she's going to be so grateful and thankful for you as her stylist. And that's what's going to help keep her as a loyal client. Talk to others about her. But again, it's identifying who that target is and speaking to them. If that's not your target market, then you might present your services in a completely different manner.
And that's exactly it. I mean, it doesn't matter, like you said, if it's good, bad, indifferent, as long as it's effective. So, and who it's going to be effective on is your market you're trying to reach, because obviously that's going to affect them more. And you also mentioned about challenges. So could you share a few examples of the most challenging marketing campaigns you've worked on and how you overcame obstacles to achieve success?
Woo, what a doozy.
Oh yeah, we go deep on this show. We no fluff. Sorry. Yeah.
Most challenging marketing campaigns. Well, and I have to be careful not to put stuff out, because there are times I can go back to when I was working for the large manufacturer that I talked about. In those cases, those big companies that are launching new products and whatnot into the marketplace, very often those products have been developed in a different country. I was based in Canada for the majority of my career, so the products might have already been developed and launched in another country, and then we would have to prepare the launch for Canada. And I'm not going to get into specific product names
Oh
or
no,
anything.
that's fine. Yep.
There are certainly several occasions where you're kind of almost forced to be launching a product into the market that you didn't totally believe in. And that's one of the challenges sometimes when you're working for large organizations. And or similarly is when products get removed from the market. And it might be something that's a product that's doing very well in Canada, but because it hasn't been doing well in other countries, globally, they decide to remove it, and now we're stuck with the challenge of having to communicate why it's going away and how to sort of offset that. And I know that it's a very frustrating experience for salons and stylists when that happens. And from let's say my personal standpoint, from a marketing perspective, really obviously the challenge is trying to help your audience. And my audience is always hair salons, right? And salon professionals and stylists. So it's helping give them the tools, right, and the scripts and the story, so that they can properly communicate it to their clientele, right? It's really it's like a chain, and we have to make sure that we're kind of keeping that game of telephone tag as tight as possible. And it's not always the most ideal situation, but I think you have to really identify and look to collaborate with people and say, what, sometimes certain things are out of your control, but if you can create at least a story that makes sense, that people can get their heads around. Again, marketing is a lot about psychology, so it's about presenting a story in a way that people will sort of buy into and accept.
Exactly. And you want to be authentic. You want to be, when you're sharing, as I say, because there are products that people love, great campaigns, and oh, we really love this. And then now they can't get it. So they have to look to other alternatives. But as I say, it's creating that dialogue with your client that says, hey, they're not carrying this anymore. I always think it's best to be truthful and authentic. But so with your clientele, what are the big three that most people have challenges with or needing assistance with? Maybe like if we can talk like about AI, gaining clients, loyalty programs. So do you deal with all that? And how do you address those concerns?
Yeah,
And talk a
absolutely.
little bit more about it, what AI is. Everybody's always, I need more clients, I need more clients. Or some people don't even know about loyalty programs. Are there benefits? Is it worth it to have it in the salon?
Yeah, great question. So I'll sort of start here because you asked what are some of the main challenges that we hear from salons. So you know beyond staff, staff is always the number one thing we need more staff, we need
Mm-hmm.
more staff. And there's a whole marketing aspect to that, because you need to market your salon in order to attract, right,
Mm-hmm.
staff to come and work for you, right? And you have to build those relationships in your community. So that's one sort of aspect of people think it's just like an HR, human resources and hiring game. But actually, if you have strong marketing in place, that's actually not just attracting clients, it's actually attracting potential stylists,
Mm.
front desk people to kind of come and want to work with you and your culture. So that's one area just kind of I think is important to recognize for salons, that that's still all about marketing and how you present yourself. In terms of more traditional marketing, what we think of, yes, everyone is constantly always talking about we need more clients, we need more clients. It seems to be like a revolving door.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I always talk about is that your marketing plan, right, to gain new clients is only as good as your retention plan.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is that if you don't have a solid retention plan in place to actually keep your existing clients, right, then it really serves not a lot of purpose to keep trying to get new clients in, new clients in, new clients in, because it's like you have a hole at the bottom of the bag and they keep dripping out and dripping out and dripping out, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
this never-ending cycle. So before you focus too much energy on trying to get new clients in, I always say it's really important to make sure that you have a strong retention plan in place. And that comes with, client loyalty and obviously loyalty programs. Loyalty programs are something that are very common in pretty much every single industry, in our world. And yet still is not nearly as common in the hair salon and spa world. It's definitely made progress over the last 10 years, but there's still a lot of work to be done. We can delve, a little bit deeper, because we do have a pretty powerful tool that's proven to be very successful for salons. So those are kind of really two big areas. Is like gaining clients. There's a whole strategy on that, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of salons have really sort of gotten on board and understood the power of Google rankings and what's called SEO, search engine optimization, and being
Mm-hmm.
ranked higher when people do searches for things on the internet, because search is a really, really critical part of consumers, right? Every single day, there's actually 3.5 billion with a B
Wow.
searches on Google every single day.
Mm-hmm.
It's and these are people who are actively looking for something, right? So if they are looking for a hair salon in your city, or a hairstylist in your city, or they're looking for a specific hair service or salon service in your city, they're actively looking for that. That's a hungry potential buyer, right? They're very highly motivated. So if you can capitalize on that and make sure that you get yourself ranked high in Google on some of those key terms, that can be a very, very, very powerful way to help gain new clients. Unfortunately, a lot of salons have just not even been thinking about that, and they just put all their energy into posting on Instagram and Facebook, and hoping that that's going to bring in thousands of clients. But it's not
Mm-hmm.
it's it's not nearly as effective in terms of new clients coming through the door.
No, and that's a big thing, because a lot of people think that somebody with a lot of followers equal clients, but it doesn't. Like, I mean, obviously, if you have 10,000 followers, you put a post up, 3 people like it. Those aren't, and one issue I think a lot of stylists have is they have their Facebook pages, they have their social media, but all they do is invite other hairstylists. So other hairstylists aren't going to become clients for you. You really have to focus on, unless you're someone like yourself where you help hairstylists, of course, then you want to invite hairstylists to your social media. And especially now with the kind of age of AI that has kind of just flooded the market and stuff like that. One thing we kind of talked about previously, a little bit about ethical marketing, is a topic of increasing importance. So, what are your views on ethical marketing practices, and how do you ensure that your campaigns align with these principles?
Yeah, I mean, I just from a personal standpoint, I believe very strongly in just kind of integrity. And I believe in just the. People ask me about my religion. I say I believe in the religion of just being a good human being.
Hmm.
Honestly, like that's kind of how I try to live my life, and that translates itself into everything that I get involved with. Certainly, so from a marketing standpoint, what you said earlier, I believe that honesty is always the best policy. And with AI today, artificial intelligence, there are a lot of fears in the marketplace today that there's all these what's called deep fakes,
Hmm.
because you can program artificial intelligence tools to like look like impersonate
Yeah, speak
something or
some like
someone,
someone, look like
you know,
someone. Yeah.
look sound like somebody. You
Hmm.
could technically make a video of someone famous and have their voice saying something that's actually completely not them.
Hmm.
um, and that leads to a lot of worries about how could that technology be used for for negative stuff. I think what we all have the responsibility, to do ourselves. So that includes me and my business, and everybody
Hmm.
listening for their own, business within the salon, the salon industry, is we just have to be true to ourselves. And if we are utilizing artificial intelligence to help us come up with content, come up with ideas, even creating images, it's
Hmm.
totally fine. Creating content is fine. It's just like finding a different way to write something. It kind of can help you with your creativity sometimes. You just want to make sure that you're checking it over. If ever you're using some statistics that's maybe being given to you by an AI, if it's suggesting, just make sure that you know where that statistic is actually
Yeah.
coming from, and you can actually quickly check the source to make sure that it's accurate, and not not
Yeah, you
not
want to
some.
make sure the numbers are legit, or cross check it, that sort of thing. That kind of brings us to, yeah, as I say, with data and being in the digital age, like data plays a significant role in marketing decisions. So how do you leverage data analytics to optimize marketing strategies for your clients?
Yeah, I think it's critical, right? Marketing as a whole is typically very subjective, right?
Hmm.
It's more of an art than it is a science, and it's about the emotions, connecting with people on an emotional level. But to actually measure your success is critical in order to help shape what you do in the future, right?
Hmm.
Most people have probably heard, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Hmm.
So if you're not actually looking at, the results that you're getting from your marketing initiatives, and then seeing, is this working or not. A great simple tool that everybody can be utilizing for this, everyone's active on Instagram. If you have a business account on Instagram, you have access
Hmm.
to what's called insights. And
Yes.
Instagram insights gives you a lot of statistics, right, in a simple way, where it's not like you have to go in a deep dive. And some people say, oh,
Hmm.
like I don't like all the numbers and whatnot. You can just look very, very simply and see which one of your posts over the last 30 days, over the last 90 days, which ones are performing better, which ones are getting more engagement, more interaction. You can look at what time of day your followers are more active online, so that you can be posting at
Hmm.
times where you have a better likelihood of connecting with your audience. You can see days of the week that are more active. You can see your followers, where they're coming from. Are they male or female? What age groups are they in? So some of these sort of basic things can allow you to see if what you're currently doing is giving you the results that you want or not. And that can help you at least make a decision to, do more of something or less of something in the future, right? So having an understanding of the results. Another thing that I really, really encourage salons and again, individual stylists, you as a service provider, to be looking at is when you have a new client come visit you, you should always, always, always be asking them and tracking this. How did they hear about you? Right? Did they find out about you through, just an online search, like Google? Did they find out about you because they saw you through social media? Did they find out about you because they were referred by somebody else? And not just casually. I think you should actually track that number. You can track it on a piece of paper at the very least, or a very simple, sort of spreadsheet on your computer. And after you've had, 30, new clients over a period of time, 50 new clients, 100 new clients, you can look and say, 50%, about half of the new clients are coming to us because of, one, social media or Google or something. And you can now shift maybe your marketing efforts and say, hey, it seems like that's really the great source to get new clients. We should be putting more energy into that because it's more successful at bringing us new clients. But if you're not even tracking that, you're not looking at it, then you don't know. And when you have no awareness, then we're not going to change our behavior. So it's really, really important that we actually make ourselves aware and that we look at some of these things to help us improve step by step over time.
And I think too, for a lot of business owners or stylists or people following social media that have accounts, like numbers for them, analytics for them seems overwhelming. But you can look at it a different light where it can be fun and it gives you insight, because why would one post get you a couple hundred likes, another post get you 2 likes? You didn't think you changed anything, but it's kind of knowing. And the same, like you said, with the time, like, where are your clients from? Like, we're in Canada, but maybe we have people from the UK looking at our stuff. Maybe we have people from Australia looking at our stuff. So one is like 5 hours ahead, the other one is 15 hours ahead. Or some people could be hours behind if they're in, Vancouver or some different places. So you have to know, it's like, okay, it's 9 o'clock here. Everybody's on at this time. I'm going to post. Well, for somebody else, it might not be 9 o'clock. It might be sometime in the afternoon when they're still at work, and those are really things that we kind of have to, there's a lot more to think about. But I think once you kind of get it, or work with a strategist, marketing specialist, they can help you and say, hey, let's look at your analytics. Here's the best times for you to post, when to post, how many times to post. And it's the same with tagging. How many times do I tag? How many times do I, use the hashtags? How many times is it even relevant anymore? Do I use 30? Do I use 3? Like, I know a lot of people have questions like that, but I think if you use the tools like Insights, because Insights will also tell you when someone's left. They don't tell you who it is, but they'll say you were at this number and now 2 people have left after a certain post. So it kind of gives you an idea. But really, if people leave, that's fine, because you really only want the people looking at your marketing that are, your vibe is your tribe. So you basically, like you said, you want to target to the right people, and you don't want people on there who are never going to like, never going to share, never going to recommend, never going to be active, on your social media, make comments, do any of that kind of stuff. But so what are some key elements that every successful marketing strategy should include, like regardless of the industry or target audience? But generally we can speak more in the beauty industry. So if they had a marketing strategy, what should you always include to be successful?
So there's a couple of things here, but I'll tie it in as we go, because one of the keys to an effective marketing strategy is clearly identifying your target market. Okay, we talked about that a little bit earlier, but we'll just sort of come back on it because it also relates to what you were just talking about, Brad, with your Instagram and your followers and being able to know who's who. I really, really like to stress that the quality of your followers is way more important than the quantity of your followers. So
Mhm.
don't be envious that somebody else has, 10,000 followers or, 50,000 followers or whatever the case may be. It's really, really important to make sure that the followers are actual potential customers of yours.
Mhm.
That's way more important. So you have to sort of understand that. As we're coming back to marketing strategy, it's about building that from the first place, right? You get to
Mhm.
be intentional. What type of clients do you want to have in your chair every single day, right? Do you want, and what type of services do you want to be performing, right? You can actually be intentional if you set this up in advance, in terms of your strategy. You say, you know what, I want to be doing balayages. I want to be doing high ticket, services. I
Mhm.
enjoy the actual, the process, the creativity that comes along with it. And it's actually, I get to work with fewer clients, but I get to kind of get more in depth with them. Somebody else might say, hey, you know what, like I really enjoy cutting and finishing, and I want more of that and less color work. You have to find what is important for you, and
Mhm.
that starts as part of a strategy that you're building, right? So what services do you want to be offering? Who is that target audience? It's so critical that you narrow down, to them.
Mhm.
Again, I'm going to come back to what I talked about in terms of strategy is, what are the challenges of that particular target audience, right? You need to understand what are the challenges that they're having, and then you can answer the question, how do my products and services help the target audience solve their problems, right? And if you can answer those questions, you now have a base to work from in terms of what content you start putting out there, right? Because you're going to be just putting out how you are helping solve their problems, and you know who you're talking to, so you can use language, you can use examples of, people that fit the profile of your target audience. If they're, into like health and, health and wellness, you might be talking more about those types of things as part of your captions in your post, and you're going to draw in more people who are interested in that mentality, in that language, right? And by presenting, you know tips on how you're solving their problems, again, you're connecting with them emotionally on their challenges that they're having, and they're seeing you as a provider of potential solutions, right? So you're connecting emotionally with those people, and you're drawing in the right type of people that you want to be working more and more with. So it's all about being intentional, and this starts with, creating that strategy of, who you are, like what you want to be doing, right? Who's your target audience, what challenges they have, and how your products and services can help them overcome their challenges.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, because I think we need to be the go-to expert in our industry. I always believe that money comes through service, and the bigger the problem you can solve, I think the greater income you'll receive, because you're helping more people, that sort of thing. And I think with the big thing now with a lot of social is algorithms. Everybody's like, "Oh, the algorithm." But I think now, especially with IG, they're looking more at not necessarily how big your audience is. They're looking at how you connect, like how you're connecting with your audience. So you may have an audience of 10,000 with very little um, connection or interaction, but you may have an audience of 3, but yet they're constantly, liking, sharing, commenting, doing all that. So I think that's what they look at more now, is more the interaction of your platform and how engagement. So they're looking at more engagement as opposed to numbers. Because at one time, especially in this industry, a lot of big companies, especially if you want to be part of a big company, work for a big company, they wouldn't look at you unless you had over 10,000 followers. But then now they're looking at more engagement. So if you're really engaged with your audience, then people are going to, I think you'll be more successful with your platform, because then you kind of know all your followers, where a lot of them just, oh yeah, I just want the numbers, so I'm going to just let people come, on and that sort of thing. But like with my followers, I know each person, everybody that follows me, I know all of them. So in some way I've reached out, I've connected. And that's the thing too, like just saying, hey, thank you for following me. Here's our thing, how can we assist you? Rather than, oh, we got to like, and you just leave that client just out there. I think that that's still part of a marketing strategy too, is reaching out and connecting, because now you're taking that heart connection a little bit, and they're like, hey, wow, I'm being seen, I'm being heard, I'm being listened to. These are my issues. Even if you ask them, what are your things, blah blah blah, then if you can do that for them, and you're also qualifying that client as well to say, yes, my salon, my staff, my uh, toolkit of what I can provide, like you said, with all the products, with all the services, with all the skills, you should be able to connect all those things to establish a solution for a client. And we kind of already covered this, but my next one is um, so with content marketing, it's like a buzzword in the industry. So could you share some strategies for creating compelling and a valuable content that resonates with audiences?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. And the key that everybody is looking for is engagement, right? Like we all want, more engagement, with our clients. So it's always like, what can I post? How do I get more engagement? So a couple of things that we need to look at here for getting more engagement. The first thing, before we actually talk about what content you put out,
Mhm.
if you want people to be engaging with your content, how selfish is it for us to be asking for that if we are not engaging with other people's content, right?
Mhm.
And I think we have to recognize that social media it's called social for a reason, right? It's not billboard advertising, but too
Yes.
many people I think have gotten caught into I'm just going to like post, I'm going to like do my post and I'm going to sit back and see how many people liked and commented on it. And then I'm going to complain about the algorithm not giving
Mhm.
me enough visibility and whatnot. And the
Yeah.
reality is it's social media, and just like anything else in life, if I want to earn more respect and have more people respect me, the way to do that is that I have to actually treat others with respect. I have to show respect, and then it's going to boomerang and come back to me, and I will earn more respect by doing that. If I want to be loved, I have to start by giving love out and showing love, and then it's going to come back. So if I want more engagement on my social media, I have to start by engaging with other people's social medias. And exactly to what you were just speaking to, Brad, you need to
Mhm.
understand who your really really active followers are. I like to call them your super fans.
Mhm.
Right? You should know who your super fans are, and you need to be actively engaging with them on a regular basis, and then also trying to, engage with others to maybe bring them in to become more super fans, and they're then going to, return that and bring more engagement onto your
Mhm.
posts and content as well. So that's a starting point about engagement that's really important. It's actually more important than just what type of content is going to get me more engagement, because actually engaging with others is what's
Mhm.
going to get you the most engagement.
Of
Okay.
course. Yeah.
In terms of actual content ideas, so we can sort of throw a few things out here. Again, I always come back to, you want to think about that strategy that we talked about. So, what are those pain points, right, that your audience has, and how are you solving those pain points? And now that should be the focal point of what your content is,
Mhm.
right? So you should be showcasing that. And it might be, little tips and tutorials that works really, really well on a regular basis, because consumers out there, they want information, right? They want to learn more about their beauty, regimen, their beauty routines. They want tips and tricks, and you're the expert. You're the one who has that information. So, if all you're doing is just, posting a picture of the hair that you did over and over and over and over again, okay, it's showing that great, you can deliver excellent
Mhm.
results, but how is that providing value to your audience? Right? How is that teaching them something? So I'm not saying not to post, your hair results, and showcasing your results. You just want a good variety, right? Because you want to show like, here's some inspiration of looks that you can do. And that's where you always want to be thinking the value for my audience. What's the value
Mm-hmm.
for my audience? So if I'm posting a picture of a beautiful balayage that I did, how can I turn this into some kind of value for my audience? Not just, hey, look at me, look at the great work that I did. It's,
Mm-hmm.
what, here's some inspiration, that might help you. Here's, the transformation that's possible, so to help people think through what they might want to be able to do. Maybe you talk about, how to go about doing, a consultation to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Those elements that is actually going to resonate a little bit deeper, right, with your audience that you're speaking to. So I feel like the content has to be bringing some kind of value to your target audience. And if you just
Mm-hmm.
continually throw them value, sometimes it's inspiration, sometimes it's education, then sometimes it's going to be, a little bit of humor because, people
Mm-hmm.
like to, engage and laugh a little bit. But think about posting for your audience and not just posting what you like.
Exactly, because a lot of times what you like isn't necessarily what your audience likes. And I believe people love to buy, but they don't love to be sold to. So what I see a lot of is, balayage special, the price and the phone number, and that's it. They don't really, like you said, why not create a video? And maybe they're the first time they're thinking about balayage, but they don't really know what the steps are or how long it takes or how do I take care of my balayage? What products do I need? Like for me, I would love all that information. And then that would show me that you're the expert. And I want to go more to a certain stylist or your salon because now I know more about it, what to expect as far as price, rather than just, balayage special and come in. And then because I don't think those ads really do anything unless you're hunting for price or you're looking to have a balayage done anyway. But what about that person that never thought about a balayage that, oh yeah, that might be great for me? Just tapping into that market as well. So where you are in kind of Montreal, it's known for its like diverse culture. And I've been to Montreal before. And so how has the local culture influenced your marketing strategies and the way that you approach different markets and audiences?
I think I'm grateful that I grew up in this culture because, like you said, it was so diverse and it gave me the opportunity as well as opened my eyes to, be open and curious from a very young age about different cultures, about different people, about different foods. And really that approach really, I think, allowed me to be prepared to start, working with people, individuals, companies from, many places around the world because I was already kind of open to having those conversations and learning about different cultures, and just sort of nuances, right? It's a lot of it is nuance. If we look at North America, we can say, oh,
Mm-hmm.
in North America, it's like all lumped together, but there's not just nuances East Coast, West Coast, but there's mid, mid and even within like if you're in Central America, but you're in like a city versus a rural area, there are nuances in terms of how to connect and interact. So I feel like growing up in a multicultural environment, like Montreal, allowed me
Mm-hmm.
to just kind of connect with that at an early age, and then through my experiences, at the manufacturer level, like I said, marketing different products towards different target markets, as well, it gave me a lot of experience that now I feel very enriched to be able to work with salon professionals from all over the place, and really be able to help them connect, right, with their local audiences. We don't just work in North America. We do have some salons outside where fully fluent in English and French. So any English and
Mm-hmm.
French countries around the world, we certainly can support and have at least a good background, I think, to be able to understand how to connect with different target audiences in different cultures with different needs. And yeah, like I said, I'm just grateful that I kind of grew up in an environment that made that a little bit easier early on.
Oh yeah, which is great. So talking globally, like, can you share, and you must have many, but can you share some memorable marketing campaigns or initiatives that kind of made a significant impact on a local or global scale? Like some kind of thing that was a heart project for you, or some campaign you thought, wow, this is really making a difference in the industry.
Like something that I personally worked on, or just a campaign in general that I feel,
It could be either or. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think I'll throw some flowers in a, in a different direction.
Hmm.
Um, just because, when you look at things that have connected on a global level, I do give a lot of credit. I don't love promoting specific specific brands, but
No.
this was started early on as it's Dove,
Hmm.
Dove sort of hair care, skincare, brand.
Yes.
I think they were, one of the first beauty brands, and I know it's not within the, salon space. So, but I think if we just look at it from a conceptual
Yeah.
standpoint,
Exactly. The initiative. Yeah.
yeah, how they first came out with just kind of the natural beauty, and embracing, natural beauty, and allowing, women to feel beautiful for who they are, regardless of, body type and color and shape and race and all of that.
Hmm.
Their sort of global beauty campaign. Now this would go back, at least 15, 20 years, I think,
Hmm.
that when it first came out, but it really took on a global, perspective. And I give them continued credit, because during the pandemic, few years back,
Hmm.
they continued with a campaign where they had global healthcare workers, um, and talking about, the challenges on their skin, like wearing masks,
Hmm.
in those, hospital and healthcare environments, constantly. And these people that are, giving, so much of themselves to help the communities, but the impact that it was having, negatively on their skin.
Hmm.
And they actually did a very sort of revealing campaign around skincare, related to that. But again, I feel like they've been a great example of, putting together kind of a campaigns that really can reach globally and touch, you know
Hmm.
many people with a message that really resonates. And I think it's a good example for us to, look for ways that we can, find a way to resonate with our communities, right? So if you take the inspiration of that, they've, looked at a big sort of global issue.
Hmm.
But if you can find issues that maybe relate to your community, when we were just talking about, the differences between the cultures and whatnot, and, every
Hmm.
community has uh its challenges, but it has its identity. And if you, as a salon professional, can really tap into that, right, and find an
Hmm.
issue that's at the heart of the people in your community, and find a way to incorporate that into what you do, maybe it's not just a give back campaign where you say, okay, you know what, 5% of proceeds are going to this local thing. I
Hmm.
mean, that's fine. I'm not saying that that's bad, but you can probably leverage it even further, by just kind of getting creative, maybe collaborating with a few people within the community, to create, a special project. And now your business is kind of at the heart of this campaign that might really resonate a lot deeper within your community. So that's kind of the learning from, the global campaign I spoke about, that maybe we could adapt,
Hmm.
to our local communities and really make an impact.
Exactly. And I love the campaign you just mentioned because it solidifies what you've already said previously in the show about knowing who your market is. They had a specific market, and they had, they were empowering women. They were telling women there's something right with you and not necessarily something wrong with you. Because most times in the beauty industry, it's like, you have lines, you have wrinkles, you have this, you have that, so that's why you need this product. Yes, it solves a problem, but then a lot of people, there's something wrong with them. But I think when you can step into your authenticity, you can become your own person. And I think people need more of that. They need to be more empowered. They need to, really kind of step into their own. And I think they need marketing that kind of does that for them. So by using a certain product or service, you become empowered, right? So then that way, when you're empowered by using the product, if it makes you feel better, if it's makeup, if it's skincare, if it's shampoo for hair loss, if it's whatever it might be, and it makes a difference for you and it makes you feel better, then I think that's really the way it should go, and with meeting and collabing and all that kind of stuff. So networking is crucial in the marketing world. So how do you build and maintain relationships with clients, collaborators, and other professionals in your field?
Yeah, another great question, Brad. I think you have to start by asking yourself, right, as an independent stylist or service provider, how can I be unique? How can I differentiate myself, right, from all the other stylists that are essentially offering a very similar service, right, in my community? And why should people come to me? And it is about relationships. Our industry is so much about relationships and bonding. But you've got to find a way to make that experience with you unique. So, you know, I would really start by making sure that you personalize that guest experience as much as you possibly can. Make that individual feel so special, so unique
Mhm.
when they come and they sit in your chair. Um, and that comes from all the little touches, depending on how your system is for checking in. Maybe you have a front desk team that's doing it. Maybe it's you personally, if you're just working on your own or in a small space. But greeting them, making sure that you have their always their first name, making sure that you have their favorite drink, what that is, and that you have that kind of prepared for them, so you don't even have to ask them each time. Those little details actually make people feel so special.
Mhm.
And then even into your service, you can start incorporating some personalized experiences. And this ties in with marketing, but here's one in particular that I love is when you're at the finishing stage of doing someone's hair, right? You're doing the actual the styling blowout portion. This is
Mhm.
actually the portion that the guest is going to kind of need to be doing on their own, right, over
Mhm.
the next 4 to 6 weeks before they come back to see
Yes.
you again. And that's what they struggle with the most, is I can never get my hair to look the way it does when I am at the salon. And that's a great compliment to you as a stylist. Obviously,
Mhm.
we want them to love coming to see us. But if we can provide them with those tips, that's going to help them feel that much more confident and comfortable with their hair every single day between visits, that's great. So why not actually set up your phone on a little clip-on tripod at your station, or even the
Mhm.
customer's phone, and say, you know what, as a little special that I do for some of my
Mm.
VIP guests, I'd be happy to record, what I'm going to do here to sort of finish, and I'll show you, some tips that you can actually do on your own, right, to kind of maintain and recreate this look, these great waves, this great shine, whatever the case may be. And now, as you're doing it, it doesn't take you more time because you're doing it anyways. It's just being recorded. But now the
Mhm.
guest feels so special, so unique. And that's part of building that rapport with them. They're going to say, no one has ever done this for me before.
Mhm.
Like, wow, my stylist, took the time to really like explain it to me, not just sit there and do it and then shove me out the door. And now I actually have a tool that I can use. Like, why on earth would I go and see a different stylist in the future?
Mhm. Yeah,
Right?
because they really reached out, and that alone is worth gold. It's an amazing tip, that why not do it in the moment, be present with your client, because clients always say, "I wish I could take you home." Well, now
Exactly.
you can. So here I am, take you home, watch me every day as you're doing it, learn the tools you need, get the right products on the way out, rebook, every 4 to 6 weeks, whatever it is. But it's done. Like you said, it's a different experience that they haven't experienced before. Because most clients will say, or most stylists will say, "Oh, you'll get it. You'll get the hang of it." But then they move so fast that they can't really, the client doesn't get a chance, especially a brand new client. I think this would really enhance their experience in the chair and make you more of an expert to say, "Hey, I know you paid for this time. I'm going to make value for what you paid." So then you're going to get extra that you didn't. I always believe in under promising, over deliver. So
Yeah.
you're always better to promise less and give them way more than they, and just blow their minds. And then so when they walk out, they're going to start to become an advocate, a super fan, because they're going to say, "I went to that salon, to this new stylist. They did this for me that no other salon has done before. Because a biggest thing for me too, even people say, wow, finally I found someone who actually listens. So that's a big thing. You think, oh, but a lot of stylists don't listen. And that's what clients want. They want to be heard. So that's a great way to say, I'm going to if this is something you're going to have difficult with, then here, I'm going to do this for you. So for the next 4 to 6 weeks, you have this. And if you still have tweaks that we need to make, then we can do that on your next visit. So you always have them coming back for something more exciting that shows that you're thinking about them. Hey, this new product came in. I thought it would be perfect for you. Hey, I went to a hair show. I saw the style. I think it would be great on you. So it's not just a matter of a physical money transaction. It's actually an energetic exchange. We're actually connecting with them. So the thing, if we're connecting and doing all this now, what does the future of marketing look like in your opinion? Like, what engaging trends do that you believe will shape the industry in the coming years?
Well, that's a loaded question, Brad, because our world is changing so rapidly right now. I think we're all seeing it right now. Is like the first taste of artificial intelligence, and people have maybe heard of this terminology, Web 3.0, because there's also the whole wave that's started a couple of years ago with cryptocurrency and this blockchain technology, and there's a massive technology shift that's coming, and we're kind of like on the cusp of it, and we never really know how quickly these things go. But if we just look back 20 years ago, where I didn't even know if Facebook existed 20 years ago or not, but it was probably
2007, 2005, 2007, around there.
Yeah, right. So like not even yet. If we go back 20 years, we didn't even have social media yet. We were still just getting used to basic cell phones that we only use them to make phone calls. Now we don't use them for phone calls. We use them as like personal computer
devices. Mini computer. Yeah.
In our pockets. So it's really difficult to predict exactly how fast things are going to go. But one thing that I can absolutely say with extreme confidence is artificial intelligence is going to be a revolutionary technology that's going to impact not just our industry, but the entire world over the next 3, 5, 10 years and beyond. And I don't think any of us can actually even dream of what it might, be able to do. But I think it's super important that we all recognize that this is a real thing that's going to have a massive impact. And the best thing that we can at least do right now is start to listen, right? Start to taste, right? Learn a little bit about it, play with it a little bit, so that you have at least a somewhat of an understanding of sort of what it is and what some of the capabilities are. It's obviously going to continue to advance, quite dramatically. And what we can do with it right now, people, are very, or I don't know about very familiar, but people have heard, most likely like ChatGPT is kind of like the big thing that kind of gets a lot of buzz. ChatGPT is just one tool of thousands and thousands and thousands of artificial intelligence tools that already exist today. It just so happens that ChatGPT, got the most sort of marketing buzz, out there, and it's it's very easy to kind of use and start playing around with. But I think it's something that we need to just really take a look at. When you think of things like virtual reality and augmented reality, I think those are going to be technologies that really impact our industry, because we might be able to sort of see like a real imagery of what what we might actually look like with different beauty looks. And we're not just talking here about hair and makeup, but you'll be able to do full makeovers, but in a sort of virtual reality world. Right, that's there. I also believe that we're going to shift a lot more towards voice commands. So today we still are doing a lot of typing, whether it's be on our phones or computers, we're typing commands. We're going to shift, I believe, much more towards voice and just sort of like talking and having conversations back. Like, Siri, if you have an iPhone, like the technology of Siri, I'm actually surprised at how slow that technology has advanced. But I think now with
Mhm.
the rise of artificial intelligence, that type of technology is going to really start advancing quickly, where we can actually just have conversations with our personal, assistant, and we're going to be using that to ask for things, to search for things, and that's going to have a big impact on, how people discover you as a salon professional, find you.
Mhm.
So none of this is to scare people, to say, oh, technology is, going to take over. And but I do think specifically with artificial intelligence, it's something that you should spend a little bit of time, sort of learning about, and trying it out. We just actually put together a 12-part video series, a kind of a tutorial video series, to help people just kind of get introduced to it, which I think is just a really basic kind of, first step that people should look at
Mhm.
this point.
Yeah, and that's fantastic because I think to have the series, it makes it easier, it breaks it down. And I think too, because we're so bombarded by information. Like I think now we're in the age of information where if you want to learn anything about anything, it's all online. So you can basically find it on any platform, but sometimes this information can almost be too overwhelming. You want to know about stuff, but there's so much there. But having it broken down into a 12-part series for people that they can look at makes much easier. And you also provide the services if people want to know more. You can probably even do stuff for them or get them, on the right track. What the best tools are for them. So if as we're almost wrapping up, so just outside of marketing, so we're going to go away from marketing for a bit. So, what are some of your personal interests or hobbies that help you stay creative and inspired in your work?
I'm a nature enthusiast. So, you know what? I love hiking. I love kayaking. I love being in the outdoors. And I find that being in those spaces, it quiets me.
Hmm.
Whether I'm like in the trees on a hike, or whether I'm like out on the lake, just in my kayak, feel a sense of peace. It quiets my brain, and it
Yeah.
actually allows me to sort of absorb new things. And I feel like that's maybe often a source of inspiration. Um, I also love sports. I'm very active,
Hmm.
so I play a lot of sports, whether it be tennis or, basketball or golf. And, that helps me, keep my energy, my energy level high, which I think is important for all of us,
Yeah.
to maintain, kind of a, active and good energy. We need positive energy flowing through us to be able to give the most of ourselves, every single day
Hmm.
in our lives, whether it be to our family, whether it be to our, clientele in the workspace. So those are the things that kind of really drive me, both from a creativity standpoint and kind of maintaining energy, which I believe is super important.
Yeah, and that's it. Like being out in nature, you can ground, you can connect. Sometimes you have to unplug to get plugged back in. And I find too, like everything comes out of nothing. So thoughts come out of nothing. When you're in nature, some things that may come to you when you're in busy environment, because we get thousands of thoughts per day, per moment, like that sort of thing. And the same, if you're doing some kind of sport, some kind of activity, it's getting rid of the brain fog. It's releasing those feel good hormones. It's getting you active and connected with people. It gets your body moving, your blood flowing. And that does, like, because obviously too, if you're in a salon standing behind a chair all day, you work a 12-hour day, 14-hour day, 7 days a week. Some salons are open 7 days a week, and you're not getting that kind of connection. I mean, the most exercise you get is running back to the the shampoo or the color area, or
Yeah.
you kind of need to get out there and make it kind of a little bit different, for you. And that's really it. I think we have to have more. Marketing's part of you, but I don't think marketing, I think if you have a good marketing campaign or a good marketing company to go to, or a mentor, that you can just kind of either put it on autopilot, because you have a marketing manager, or you go on, you post what you need to post, and then leave it. Don't worry about it. Don't check every 5 minutes to see who's liked it, to see who, if they want to connect it with you, they'll phone, they'll email, or whatever your call to action is, sort of thing. But So I know you're doing a lot of stuff and you have a lot of stuff on the go. Can you tell us about some upcoming projects or ventures you're excited about, or any goals you've been looking to achieve in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting. I'm not going to get into we can get into the whole goal setting thing on a whole other conversation, because I listen, to a lot of podcasts and have some
Hmm.
views on the dangers of setting goals. So, I
Hmm.
believe in continual improvement day by day, right?
Hmm.
Towards, uh, a positive direction. And that's what I try to do, is just be, a little bit better today than yesterday. I really genuinely care about helping our professional industry, as much as possible, and that's my personal goals.
Hmm.
And it's finding, new ways to do that, and it's all about listening. It starts with listening, it starts with connecting, it starts with understanding what are the
Yes.
challenges out there. When I started Salon S.O.S, 5.5 years ago, the mission was to bring simple and affordable marketing solutions to the hair salon world, and that's still our mission. But it started off with, websites, because I just saw so many salons that didn't have websites, or they had old, outdated websites, and I
Hmm.
was trying to understand, why do they not have a website? This is so critical for your business, or why is it there, but I see that they haven't updated it in 3 years because there's an old promotion that's still sitting here. And
Hmm.
in talking to salons and talking to distributors, I understood sort of what some of the barriers were, and said, okay, I need to create a system here that's going to allow every single salon, and even salon professionals. We work with a lot of independents, that need their own personal branding, on a simple tool that's super affordable, that gives them that online presence. So it started with websites, and then it was social media. Everybody needed help with social media, so we've got a lot of tools and specifically trainings around social media. Then it was this loyalty part. We talked about client retention earlier, and we developed a very, very powerful client retention sort of loyalty app, for salons, that they get their own personalized one. And so we've been working with salons on that, and implementing. And so it's kind of been an evolution. We launched, an e-commerce platform during, the pandemic, when everybody needed to, was shut down. They needed to sell online, and they needed that help. So we went down that direction. Recently, we have, like I said, been following and being very close with artificial intelligence and the evolution and impact in that. So that's kind of the current, the current sort of baby project, that we've been focusing on. There's been Google, right, helping people with their Google rankings,
Hmm.
and search engine, because that's so critical. And, kind of a next project that we're kind of have on the go a little bit, is just helping to, um, provide more turnkey solutions. I hear this so much, from salon owners specifically. They say, what, like I just have too many things to do, and when someone tells me I should be doing this sort of marketing, it's just adding one more thing on the to-do list, that,
Hmm.
I know that I should be doing this, but I just don't have the time. I don't have the capacity, and I just need somebody who can take care of that all for me. So we're, kind of putting together a bit of a turnkey, almost like concierge type service, to be able to implement some of these actions that are important, for salons to be able to put together strong promotions, properly promote those promotions in salon, online, social media, through their website, in a very sort of easy way that the salon actually doesn't need to think about, and can actually go forward. So that's something that we're, uh, pretty excited about, bringing soon, and we'll continue to keep our ear to the ground, to see what the continued challenges are, and continue to bring simple and affordable solutions that can help our industry.
That's amazing. And if people want to see you live, you're actually speaking at Beauty X. Can you tell the audience a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, at the Beauty X, end of October in Toronto, I will be there, giving a couple of classes, in the education training rooms. So, we're going to be doing a segment on Google, right, where we're really talking about gaining clients. So it's going to be kind of broken up into two: gaining clients and different techniques and whatnot, how we can utilize, the online space, specifically with Google, a little bit social media, in terms of gaining clients into your salon business. And then we're going to do a section on retention, right? It's all about sort of, and a bit of a focus on retail at the same time. So how to grow your retail sales and retain clients, and talk about best practices around loyalty and how that can actually help you to stimulate retail. We hear continually that retail sales are a big, challenge, at the salon level. And so we're going to be talking about some strategies in and around that. And we're going to sprinkle a little bit of the artificial intelligence conversation, because it's such a new hot topic. We figured, you know what, we need to make sure that we're addressing some of those key questions as well. So that's what you can see if you come and check out my classes at BeautyX.
Yeah, this should be exciting. So there's something else that you do, like myself. You also have your own podcast. So you've had incredible guests like Anna Pacito, Sam Vila. So can you tell us a little bit more about kind of what your podcast involves and how you got into that? We don't want to go long, but we're kind of wrapping up. But I did see some of your episodes, absolutely love them. So I wanted to give you a shout out as a podcast host. And can you tell us a little bit about the show and how you created it?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. It's the show is called The Salon Scoop. Can be found on all podcast stations, and our goal is really to educate, entertain, and inspire salon professionals on a bunch of topics. We obviously cover a lot of digital marketing, specific topics. We do these sort of digital debriefs on all different topics, but we also like to invite some sort of industry. I say icons, but people with lots of experience in different areas, right? So that we can highlight, somebody who's been a platform artist and talk about, their experience as a platform artist. Somebody else who is an actual social media influencer and talk about, what it takes to be a social media influencer and how that, came to be. Somebody, a salon owner that's been having success with, dealing with the staff shortages and recruitment and how they're doing. We're just trying to sort of share some best practices. Different areas that people can kind of learn from, and at the same time, have some fun. We'd like to have some good exchanges, just like you do here on your great podcast, Brad. So yeah, I think the more that we can just kind of get content, people like to consume information in different ways, and that's why we decided to be there. So some people spend a lot of time on social media. Some people like to listen to podcasts while they're at the gym or while they're driving in their car. Some people like to watch videos. We have a YouTube channel with marketing videos. It's kind of like a marketing academy on YouTube. So we've just tried to put content in various areas so that we can touch people where they are in the way that they want to consume information.
Yeah, exactly. And we love here, and that's the big thing for me. I love guests that come on that are changing the industry. And you're definitely one of those people that are making a change, that are offering information, that are offering solutions. You're right on the pulse of what's happening now. So lastly, for aspiring marketers that are listening to this podcast, what advice or words of wisdom would you like to impart to help them succeed in a dynamic world of marketing?
I could go in several different directions here, but I'll say action beats thought every day of the week. So too often we get caught up just trying to like overthink ourselves, and we don't want to actually, put in place. We don't want to, post something until we make it perfect. But the reality is that we spend so much time thinking and working on it, and the perfect doesn't actually exist. It's just a subjective thing in our brain. So I would say people who want to get active, just start doing, just start taking action, putting stuff out there, and then watch it, measure it, right? Track it, see what's working, and then you can continually make shifts and changes along the way. But that'll actually get you way further ahead than if you just sort of stay in the parking lot and like thinking about your plan, thinking about everything, and then being too scared to actually move forward. So that'll be my tip for today.
Oh, great. That's great advice. So I want to say thank you, Scott, for being on today's Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. So if people want to connect with you, where can they go to connect with you?
Yeah. So on all social media, you can reach us at salon.s.o.s. You can check out our website for all the different, sort of resources and services that we have. That's just www.salonsos.ca, and you can email us at info@salonsos.ca. And we are, very, very active and engaged to sort of get back to you, and love to just have conversations with people. We do free consultation calls. We just really want to help. So if you have questions, as they just reach out. The best thing that you can do is just ask, right? Rather than kind of bottling it up, and just ask the question, reach out, and you'll see there's so much love in this industry and people who want to kind of collaborate and share. And we're definitely one of those people that are just happy to, help. So reach out. No questions are too silly, and you're better to inform yourself and go from there.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And we'll also put this on the post as well, so we'll have the links all there. So if you're interested in following up with Scott, he and his team are more than happy to engage with you and provide solutions for you. So as we wrap up, our conversation went so fast. I can't believe we talked this long. But as we wrap up, what's one nugget of gold you would like to leave our audience? So this could be on anything. Doesn't have to be marketing. It could be on anything. If you want to impart, you've already imparted so much, but if you want to kind of leave one just nugget of gold, and then we'll kind of head out.
All right. The nugget of gold is that the most important skill, everything in life, we learn skills, right? We learn the skill of cutting hair. We learn the skill of coloring hair. We learn the skill of, playing the piano. We learn the skill of playing a sport. But I would tell you that the most important skill that you can work on in your life that most people don't work on is mastering your thoughts and kind of controlling your mindset. It is a skill, and we can work on it. And once you do and kind of are able to put yourself into more of a positive sort of mindset on things, it can completely transform the rest of your life in so many positive ways. And it saddens me that we don't spend much time at all working on it, and we work on all these other skills, but this one absolutely is the most important one that you can possibly work on. So I encourage you to absorb information that's going to help you take more sort of power over your your thoughts, your positive energy, and you'll see incredible ramifications in your life.
Wow, that's amazing. You've imparted so much knowledge, so much wisdom, so much gold. As I say, that's why we called this, over the moon, because you've provided so much information. It really sends us above and beyond. And I'm sure people are going to be listening to this, sharing this podcast for years to come, and listen to it over and over, because there's always points in the show that you can always apply, and then apply to your own marketing. And now that like where to target, how to do it, and even just Scott's external advice as well, not necessarily related to marketing, but to life. But I think they are kind of symbiotic and joined, and things like that. But I want to say thank you again, Scott, for being on the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. And I'll just let everybody know today's episode has been brought to you by Beauty Industry Cruises, powerful education in beautiful destinations. There's the Caribbean in October. We're also doing January. We're doing Australia, and in June we'll be in the Mediterranean. Those events are announced now on www.beautyindustrycruises.com. And you can go on social media at IG and Facebook, Beauty Industry Cruises. Check it out. All the stuff is there. So remember to get up, dress up, show up wonderfully and powerfully. And I'll see you next time.